Welcome to Three Films and a Podcast, the show where destiny brought together three friends to enhance each other's cinematic journey by watching three new movies in a series of themed rounds. There is no claim of ownership on any film footage used in this episode, as all film footage is owned in its entirety by the copyright holders. And just like every car in Too Fast, Too Furious, this podcast contains spoilers. Enjoy! Hello and welcome back to Season 2 of Three Films and a Podcast. My name is Ben Lawhorn. I'm coming to you from Salt Lake City. With me as always is Matt Weiler.
Yo!
That's the enthusiasm I want tonight. I like it. And also Tyler Beck is with us.
Yeah, up here in Salt Lake City, I'm doing an edition of Three Films and a Podcast, Nights. As you can see, I've got the lights off here, really setting the mood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dark Nights.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
And I just wanted to do that Abed line read.
I like it. I'll put some music.
Three Films and a
you.
Podcast, Nights.
Troy and Abed in the morning. Nice.
For those of you new to the show, welcome to the Movie Club. For those of you returning, welcome back to the Movie Club. We are happy to have everybody here. You can find us everywhere on socials at 3filmspod, or you can find us online at 3filmspod.com, which also has our socials, our Patreon, our merch, all that kind of stuff is there. So yeah, thank you for being here and thank you for your support. Before we go any further, we have a guest with us today, which I'm very excited about. We are doing a little pod recast. So we thought, like, who would be better than Wayne from the Recasted Podcast? Wayne, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, I'm excited to be on here. I think you guys probably know I do all the editing and whatnot for our podcast. So anytime I get a chance to just be a guest and all I got to do is show up, it's so nice.
It's the dream, right? I love
That's
it.
Awesome.
It's a dream Ben gets all too infrequently.
Yeah.
He's working so hard over there.
Well, I love it. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I feel you. It's great to be a guest sometimes. Do you want to tell people about you and about the podcast and where they can find you guys?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, my kind of background in movies goes all the way back to the 80s. My mom owned a video store back in the day.
Oh,
and
nice.
I always tell people that not that it's to get sympathy or anything, but I had no friends growing up. I was kind of a nerd. And so my summers, instead of playing baseball with friends, I would just grab 5 movies off the shelf at my mom's store and I'd just watch movies, and it kind of never left. I've always been a movie guy.
That's awesome.
So it's like the Quentin Tarantino film school there. You're a graduate, fellow graduate.
Exactly. Which is funny because I actually hate Tarantino. And so it's like,
that's fine.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
We obviously see things through a different lens.
Yeah.
With the podcast itself, it kind of came about. I listened to another podcast where after the movie Endgame came out, I tried to consume as much podcasts as I could that had Endgame.
Mm.
And this one podcast said, well, what if Endgame was recast in 1995 and they had Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, oh, you know what? That's a really cool idea. But what if we did a whole podcast that's nothing but that concept? And so we just take movies that are at least 20 years old. We recast them with modern day actors and actresses. And you can find us on every platform. We really strongly push Good Pods because they really support indie podcasts.
Yeah.
Good Pods is awesome.
And at Recasted Podcast on Twitter and Facebook. And on Facebook, we have a group called All Things Movies, which anyone can join and just share movie stuff, TV stuff.
Nice.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I love the idea behind it. Like every time we do a recast on here, I think about it like we should just do a recast pod because I love doing this so much. It's so much fun to do. So yeah, I think you guys, you nailed it. I love what you guys do. I think it's a lot of fun. And it's crazy to think like 20 years old is like 2002 now. Cause in my mind, it's like, yeah, 90s movies. Like, no, I mean, it could be like something from 2002 it still qualifies. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
This is where we're at, but that's the joys of aging, I guess.
Yeah, really the only rules that we really implement are we can't use anybody from the original, not even in a different role.
Okay.
And
Cool.
we also don't recast any child actors, not for anything political or anything like that. It's just like, the way I look at it is somebody said, why don't you do The Sandlot? And I'm like, because we'd pick 8 actors who you've never heard of. So how are you going to know if it's good or not?
Yeah.
Dude, we just kind of ran into that because we just did 10 Things I Hate About You. And it's like, I don't know any high school actors. Like, I don't really know. Like, it was difficult. I think half the episode was like, all right, I picked this person and everyone else like, who is that? And then you have to try to tell them what they might know them from. So I think it's a great call to have an age limit. So at least you kind of recognize the person. I say, let's just get into the recast now.
Let's do it.
I mean, we've talked about it before. We like to think this is a movie club. We like to, be positive in everything here. But unfortunately, not everything goes according to plan. We just can't control it. And unfortunately, I have some very bad news to share with everybody. Once again, Arkham Asylum has lost control, and every Batman villain that you know and love is on the loose. Tale as old as time, right? I mean, Arkham breaks open, everyone's out and about. So yeah, Catwoman, Riddler, Two-Face, Joker, Scarecrow, like everyone that you know, all the popular villains are out there. Also, the more like unknown villains, including Binge Boy, who you people may have not heard of. Don't look him up. I promise it's canon. But Binge Boy is actually the guy who came up with the idea for Quibi, where we had to just like stream stuff on our phone. It had to be like 10 minutes long. And basically he's trying to bring it back. And he's doing that by getting rid of everything that isn't a streaming TV show on your phone. And he started out with Batman and Robin. Every copy of it's gone. It's just out of here. And we have been tasked with the recast. That's why we called in Wayne. I mean, well, perfect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is Wayne Industries.
I'm trying to play along with the premise here. But I'm like, in my head, I'm like, if this movie disappeared, that wouldn't be a bad thing.
It's the first Batman movie everyone
This is devastating, Tyler. This is devastating.
For this to be the first movie that Binge Boy chose to delete.
Oh man,
like, I gotta get rid of Batman and Robin.
Oh, he came here with the Clooney. He was on a Clooney mission.
Yep, it's
like,
all
I gotta
Clooney.
get rid of this thing.
Yeah, it's gotta get these Ocean's movies out of here. I'm starting with Batman.
The premise of this whole exercise for this movie specifically just makes me laugh so much.
Well, it's very serious. It's deadly serious.
Big deal. Big deal.
But yeah, like I said, we've recruited some help here, so we're going to recast this movie. We're doing what we call a little pod, which is just a little different from the rest of our shows. And yeah, we're going to do this recast of the 1997 Joel Schumacher just color fest, Batman and Robin. I mean, this movie was something else. We'll talk about our feelings on it in a sec.
It was something else.
It was definitely something else. It's like, I saw this in theaters and I was like excited about it. Like I don't know, man. It's kind of nuts. So yeah, we don't necessarily want to recast it because I think some of these people maybe played the role pretty well, and who else is going to fill those bat nips like Clooney? But it's something that we've just got to do. So I'm going to go over a couple rules of the recast and then have some questions, and then we'll get into it. As always, we have our chaos rule. So that means once a person is taken, nobody else can take that person in any role at all. So yeah, one and done. We did an X-Men recast a while ago about them coming into the MCU. And we made the rule then of nobody that's existing in the MCU because, they wouldn't do that if they're joining. But the DCEU is just a shit show. Like,
yeah,
we've had 3 Batmen in the last decade and Jokers, and just like, it's chaos.
Yeah.
We've had 2 Suicide Squad movies in the last 5 years. Like, there's no rules. Nothing matters.
Yeah,
so
thank you for that.
I mean, we can recast anybody and everybody. So yeah. And yeah, I'm just kind of excited to see what we're going to do here. There's 4 of us. We've got 8 characters. We're going to be drafting. We'll announce those as we go. And then, yeah, we'll figure out the order. And last time, I think we kind of came up with something that was kind of cool is we'll pick the order 1 through 4. And then in that order, you get to choose which character we do for that round. So, if you're going first and you only have like one person for Mr. Freeze, I want to go with Mr. Freeze. So you make sure to get that person. So, but I will keep track of all that kind of stuff on my end. But yeah, for now, let's talk about this movie quickly. Wayne, what are your thoughts on Batman and Robin? I would love to hear it.
I had to go back and rewatch it because I hadn't seen it in so long, and I wanted to make sure that I did justice to the recast. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I remember now why I haven't seen it in so long.
Totally.
It was really bad. And
I was just gonna say, I'm sorry we did that to you.
It was just, I felt like, when Tim Burton did Batman back in 1989, obviously it was very campy, cartoonish, but it was still campy. And I felt like every single episode that came after that, they tried to make it campier and more cartoonish. And this one really took the take to the point that, the sets looked like they were done for a high school play. The overacting was atrocious. And then we had like every other line had to be some sort of like a quip or a catchphrase.
Let's kick some ice.
And Mr. Freeze, of course, had to do a catchphrase with everything that had the word cold or freeze or whatnot. And it didn't matter. It's like, you're going to catch it cold, you know? And you're like, I should have told him to freeze. It's like, so awful. I just couldn't stand it. So by the end of it, I was like, man, I'm glad this is over with. And hopefully nobody ever asked me to recast this movie again.
I'm kind of with you. Like I watched it. I was on a work trip and I watched half of it and then just like I had to go to bed. And the next day I was like, do I need to finish this? Like, I think I kind of get it. Like, I'm not like, is anybody going to know if I don't finish this movie? But yeah, I did. I don't know if it was the right choice, but I finished it. Tyler, what about you? Were you able to get through this in one sitting?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I had fun with it, but this might be the dumbest movie I've ever seen. Like, the whole time I watched it with my girlfriend and we were just like, I can't believe we're watching this. Like, we don't often watch movies together. Like, we don't always have the same taste. So I'm like, the one time we choose to watch a movie together and this is the fucking movie we picked.
This is
like,
what we're doing.
Unbelievable. But I mean, it was fun. And like, you know, I said, I think it's the dumbest movie I've ever seen, but there was a part of me, I'm like, maybe this is brilliant. Like, I think maybe this is exactly what they were going for. You know, it just is. Maybe it just, I don't know. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's the dumbest movie I've ever seen. But it was just like, my head was spinning. I'm like, all these choices were deliberate. Like the sets you talked about, I actually liked the look of a lot of them. Like I thought the Gotham Observatory looked cool. I liked like the overly gothic look of Gotham. So like, but that cost a lot of money to make. And like, there was a lot of decisions that had to be made to get to this point. And I'm like, all of this was greenlit. So this is exactly what they were going for. So maybe this is brilliant. I don't know. I don't think it is. And I will say I actually really enjoyed Arnold. I loved his. I think he's the only one that truly understood the assignment. Like all those one-liners and just his personality and the way he performed it would like really fit what I think they were going for in this movie. I think they were trying to make a very campy, like maybe more so true to like the original Batman series from back in the day with the blams and the whammos and all that stuff. So I don't know, like it was horrible. I'll probably never watch it again, but I had fun making fun of it in the time.
That's what this is for at this point.
Yeah.
Matt, how about you?
I mean, Warner Brothers isn't exactly known for their home runs with superhero movies, but I feel like it was the direction that they kind of went down with these Batman movies that I feel like made it hard for people to take comic book movies very seriously for a long time because they're high budget. They don't really know what they're gearing towards. Like, are we an adaptation of the cartoon? Are we trying to get the parents in on this? And they're like failing, you know, across the board. I remember being a kid seeing this and like thinking it was cool just because of the costumes,
Batman.
The nipple suit, you know, everyone wanted a nipple suit. You know what I mean? The nipple suit was cool.
It's all the rage.
No, it's funny. How come we don't see more nipple suit like cosplay? Like no one wants to cosplay the nipple suit. We see every other Batman iteration.
Free the nipple, man.
Free the nipple suit. Yeah.
While we're on this, is this the worst suit up sequence in history? Like, and it's the first thing we see, and it's just straight to bat ass and bat nips, and like it's so atrocious.
Hey, it sells.
Like
that's I thought the same until we got the Alicia Silverstone one. Then it was just like,
well, you got to be fair.
It was like the bat chest, the bat at, like zipping up the back, all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, this is very gratuitous.
It's so bad.
Oh man.
I mean, and this is the only movie that we see, you know, Batman skateboard down the spine of a dinosaur.
That is true. Yeah.
Some real cool extreme sports in this movie. I did like that. I actually noticed there was one part where they're like, they're skydiving on the doors from the spaceship or whatever. And Chris O'Donnell or Robin, excuse me, does like a really sweet frontside air with a grab. I was like, oh shit, like they're actually doing some moves here. That's cool, man.
I mean, so my thought watching this was I deviated from like the badness that I was seeing, and I thought if they had the right formula, they really could have pushed this into they could have pushed the Batman franchise into much more of like a James Bond hybrid with Fast and the Furious sort of thing, where they're switching roles every few years, switching actors every few years. And like, they are very aware of what they're doing with it. But this was, you know, obviously it just like fell flat with this movie, and we know the rest.
Yeah, there definitely was a, you know, who showed up for the right movie kind of situation. I'm with you. I think Arnold. I also think Uma Thurman was there, you know, for the right movie as well. So
yeah, she was good.
I was into it, but yeah, my thoughts on watching this is like, man, in 2019, the Met Gala theme was camp. I feel like everyone should have just dressed up like this movie because this was like so campy. It was insane, but it was, I don't know. I think I'm glad I rewatched it, but I'm glad to know that I don't need to rewatch it anytime soon. Maybe that's more what I'm happy with, but
I kept getting like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle vibes from it. Like that's what it felt like to me. And I remember I loved that movie as a kid. Oh yeah. As I got older, I hated it. So I think that this movie was definitely super aimed at kids. But I think, like you guys were saying too, it's like they're also trying to grab the adults, but didn't know how to do it.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's a super solid point. Wayne, what is your favorite Batman movie? I'm assuming this one isn't it, but what would be your favorite Batman movie? It's
definitely going to be a chalk answer, which is I'm going with The Dark Knight. I think that it's just pretty much a flawless movie. And I would love to tell you that it's The Dark Knight Rises, because I really feel like Tom Hardy was absolutely amazing as Bane.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it.
And I feel like he got crapped on a little bit because he was following Ledger and people were disappointed. But if you had never seen The Dark Knight and you saw The Dark Knight Rises, I mean, Tom Hardy was incredible as Bane. So I like that one. But at the same time, I didn't love Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. It had a couple of holes in it. And so I felt like The Dark Knight was kind of pretty much a perfect picture in terms of pacing and the story and everything. I didn't have any qualms with it. So that would be the best one to me.
I think that's a solid choice. This should have been, what's your favorite that isn't The Dark Knight? Because I feel like it's, it's just, it's a favorite for a reason for a lot of people, myself included. I like Dark Knight Rises. I mean, Tyler and I were working together when this came out, and it was just like, we talked about it the day after, and it was just kind of like, I think it was the perfect end to the trilogy, like I think maybe people have issues with it as a standalone, but I think it wrapped everything up nicely. I liked what Tom Hardy was going for. Anne Hathaway's on my crush more, so I can't really be biased. So I was like, yeah, she was great. But no, I think that's a solid choice. Matt, what's your favorite version of Batman?
I mean, to not be a broken record, The Dark Knight is the best Batman movie. My favorite, though, probably just because of the growing up with it, Batman Returns. The Danny DeVito Penguin, Christopher Walken. That's
due for a revisit for me. I need to check it out again. It's been a while.
The Catwoman cat suit, so all that. Michelle Pfeiffer. So that's got to be my favorite.
That's solid. How about you, Tyler?
Well, Wayne and I was like, I'm just going to repeat everything Wayne said, except I really did like Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. For whatever reason, like a lot of people really dislike her, and I don't personally understand, but hey, that's, it's all subjective. Cause I remember I got in a big argument. Well, not a big argument, but a big debate with your ex at the time about Tom Hardy as Bane. She couldn't buy it. And I'm with Wayne. I was like, I thought he was really good. Like, I don't know. I thought it was a really cool performance. I was terrified of Bane. And I also thought it was interesting that he seemed somewhat sympathetic at times as well. I don't know. I thought it was a cool performance. His voice is a little weird, but that's like, at this point, that's like a Nolan trope. So who cares?
Yeah, we were dealing with that with Bale,
That's like his thumbprint. But, acknowledging that The Dark Knight is like probably the GOAT Batman movie. I think I've got to go with the original Tim Burton with Jack Nicholson as the Joker. It's always held a spot in my heart. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with Batman. For some reason, my grandparents let me watch that movie, which I guess is not that violent or weird, but it's pretty dark for a kid of 6 years old at the time. I don't know. If I'm being really honest, I think my favorite might be Batman Forever with the Jim Carrey Riddler.
And you are Enigma, Edward Enigma.
But you can call me
the Riddler.
Because that's the first one I think of when I think of Batman. It's campy in the way that's still fun, at least. I have fonder memories of that movie than I do of this one.
It's got Drew Barrymore.
It's got Drew Barrymore and
Sugar and Spice.
I think Jim Carrey as a Riddler was really good. I thought it was a fun, the fun kind of camp, and at least it was interesting. And so if I'm being honest, it's probably Batman Forever, but you could pick either that or the Burton Batman.
We appreciate the honesty. I want to make that clear.
I'll always be honest with you.
That's good. Yeah, again, Dark Knight, I think, it's just the best thing out there. I want to shout out Batman Begins. And I think because, man, I don't know, like my expectations were high. It's like, how are you going to retell this?
Mhm.
Like, it's not necessarily like the Spider-Man origin story that we've heard so many times, but now we have.
Yeah.
But I think it was a big risk, for that movie. It was just like, who is this guy that's doing this movie, and like who's playing him, all that kind of stuff. And I think it's just one of the best origin stories that we have out there in superhero movies. I really enjoy Batman Begins. Liam Neeson's always awesome. So it was great to see him. So that's probably the one that like maybe surprised me the most. And I was like, okay, I'm on board with this. I like this a lot. So
wait,
yeah,
before Batman Begins, was Batman and Robin the last Batman movie before Batman Begins? Okay, so like
that was the jump.
It's kind of crazy. I remember thinking the same things. I'm like, they're gonna do Batman again. We've already seen Batman. We don't need this origin. It's crazy.
We have Batman and Robin. What more do we need?
Like we know the story, but like, how crazy is it that was an actual thought that I think the majority of people had? It's like, we don't need this again. And it's like, thank God they did it. Like,
no kidding, man. It was so good. Well, we are doing this in anticipation of The Batman, which is coming out. We have Robert Pattinson, who's filling the cowl for, I don't know, like the sixth person to do it. I don't know. I mean, quite a few people have. But I just want quickly for us to kind of go over like who is your favorite Batman, because we have plenty to choose from. And Wayne, I'm going to throw it to you.
For me, it's Christian Bale. I mean, I know a lot of people like Michael Keaton. I think he's overrated. And I think a lot of it has to do with nostalgia, because we first saw that movie as kids and we're like, oh, Michael Keaton's our Batman. He's not really that great as the Batman, going back and rewatching him. Obviously, Ben Affleck's very vanilla. Val Kilmer's very vanilla. Clooney was horrible. So to me, it's a no-brainer. But I will say this, when they announced Pattinson as the Batman, I almost jumped out of my seat. I was so excited. I said, he is going to be great right off the bat as soon as I heard his name. And seeing the previews, it doesn't look like it's going to disappoint. I think by the time I see it, he'll be my favorite.
Awesome. I think I follow your sentiments exactly. I feel like anybody that isn't excited about Robert Pattinson doesn't know him outside of Twilight, because, if you're doing Good Time, like some of his other movies, like, you can see exactly, where they could take this with the Batman. So I'm with you. I'm very excited for him. Matt, who's your Batman?
So, I mean, I'll validate Wayne here. It's Michael K, but it has everything to do with nostalgia. I mean, just growing up with him as Bruce Wayne, those like my affinity for those movies. So for me, it's Michael Keaton. Speaking to Robert Pattinson, I was guilty. I was one of the guilty ones that Ben's talking about, where all I had seen was Robert Pattinson as Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter, and seen him in the trailer of Twilight, because I actually hadn't seen any Twilight at that point. But once I still trusted it for some reason. Like sometimes I like these castings where it's like, oh, I don't see it, but that's sort of how Heath Ledger was when he was casting as Joker. I was like, oh, how's this guy going to fill Jack Nicholson's shoes?
He was the Knight's Tale guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so like in some way I trusted it, but I was still kind of doubting. But then I had some people push me into Good Time. And then of course we saw Tenet and got to see, Robert Pattinson in a different light, and just couldn't be more excited now to see it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I understand that. Like I'm sort of the same way. It's to the point now where like, I know that it's not just a decision, like just some willy-nilly decision to cast a person in a role like Batman. So I'm like, I don't know, man, if enough people signed off on it, it could end up like Batman and Robin, because a ton of people signed off on this movie that we're recasting and it's garbage. But like, chances are it's going to be pretty good. So I'm just like, I have like blind faith, I guess, in Hollywood.
Nice.
But to answer the question, I wrote on the document that I got to go with Keaton. And honestly, it's because of the nostalgia factor. My favorite Batman movie, like I said, is Batman Forever. So you would think I would pick Val Kilmer, but I'm actually going to say Affleck. I think he gets a bad rap for his Batman. Cool. I can understand why you wouldn't like it. And if I'm being honest, it doesn't really have anything to do with Ben Affleck. I do like that version of Batman, because I do think it's like the mix of like kind of like the over the top campy, but like still somewhat grounded and dark and violent. Like I like the sort of like extreme violent campy version that Batman is. And it just so happens that Ben Affleck plays that version of that Batman. So like, I just have, I've always rallied behind Batfleck a little harder than a lot of people do, and maybe it's just because I feel like that was the best part of Batman versus Superman, was the fact that Batman was like dark and violent and like, doesn't he say the F word? Listen to me saying the F word. Like I don't
says Martha.
say the
Martha.
But anyways,
why did you say that name?
I think Clooney, or not Clooney. I think the other traditional white guy, Affleck. Yeah, Affleck. I think he gets a bad rap. I think he's not as bad as some people say, but I mean, Wayne, you called him vanilla. I definitely agree with that, but at least the version of Batman they were doing was different than something we'd seen before on screen. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't go against what Wayne's saying. It's the nostalgia. I like Michael Keaton mainly as the Bruce Wayne side of the role. Like I think he's like entertaining there. I do want to shout out, it's TV, but Adam West, like I think he's the first Batman I ever saw, watching some of the old TV show stuff. So he was great. But just to throw a curveball in there, I'm gonna go with Will Arnett. I think Lego Batman's awesome. If you haven't seen that movie, it's actually really funny.
Really?
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
Oh, yes, it is. Because I'm inside your head.
No, you're not.
I knew you'd say that.
No, you didn't.
And I knew you'd say that. See, we aren't so different, I and you.
It's you and I. Gah!
I think he's got one of the greatest like side roles in the Lego movie. Like when he's throwing that batarang and like, it's like the seventh one. He's like, first try. Like, hey, I like this. I like what he's doing here.
That's a fun tie-in for my Clubhouse question too, because I saw that in Austin with my parents and my girlfriend at Alamo Drafthouse. Nice. So it's a really fun movie experience. So I like that.
I've got a funny Lego Batman story. So I saw it with my kids and my family, and it was a rough day. I fell asleep like almost instantly in the movie, like before it even like got its wheels going.
Dad's asleep.
And yeah, exactly. But what's funny, and my wife is like the biggest Harry Potter fan on the planet. I wake up like at the climax of the movie, and like Voldemort is doing some weird Lego thing. I still haven't seen the full movie. So I wake up in the middle of this climax. Voldemort's doing this thing, and I lean over to Angie. I'm like, "That's Voldemort." Like she's like I'm mansplaining
to
her.
Go back to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
You're letting her know.
yeah, exactly. Like, babe, that's Voldemort. Oh,
Shut
so
the
bad.
hell up. Yeah. Right now.
I think the Lego Batman story that always makes me laugh is when I watched it. I laughed so hard for just no reason. I don't know why. When the Joker shows up at the party and he's like surrendering, and Batman runs over to Bane and he goes karate chop and he hits him, and Bane goes, "That was unnecessary."
It's such a good cast too, with like Michael Cera, Rosario Dawson, Zach Galifianakis, like playing the Joker. It's so good. And there might be someone in this movie that maybe I'm hoping to get in my recast. So we will see.
Spoiler alert.
But speaking of, now that we've answered those questions, I think it's time to figure out the order for our recast.
My favorite part.
So let me get the randomizer pulled up here.
Get the popcorn.
Here we go. I didn't link this beforehand. So So Wayne, Tyler, Matt, Ben, it's the four of us. Let's get the randomizer going here. Tyler, leading us off here.
Wow.
Again, this is why it's my favorite part of this show. I'm always first.
I think you've got this rigged. I'm second. Matt is third. Wayne is fourth, but I don't think that's awful because you're kind of in the turnaround spot there. So you will be able to go fourth and fifth.
But wait, aren't we doing it? We're not doing it snake order, are we? Are we doing it 1, 2, 3, 4?
It's like
2, 3,
a
4, 1?
advanced snake order. So it's a snake order for the character, but within the character, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I figured that's actually probably a little more fair. So So I'll keep track of it all. If I mess up, you have me to blame.
It's all right.
But yeah.
So wait,
okay.
I get to go first then, and I get to pick the character and then start that character's drafting.
You nailed it. Yep. You killed it. So
that's great.
Who are you wanting to go with first?
All right. I have a strategy decision to make. Do I pick the one that I have the least amount of people for? No. What I want to do
keep in
here,
mind, that means you're going to do the last round. So this is the only one you get to pick because you're first.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. riveting audio here.
Riveting audio.
All
We'll have
right,
the intern
so
take it out.
I'm gonna do the one that I have the least amount of picks for. And actually, I really, really want this person, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna start with Robin. We're gonna cast Robin first.
All right.
And I remember as a kid, I loved Robin. I don't know what it was. I always liked the sidekicks.
You're a Robin
you know?
kid.
I was a Robin kid. I liked Luigi. You know, I liked the sidekicks. Maybe I just felt
Donatello.
like I was more sidekick material than like, you know, hero material. And so I was always drawn to Robin. And I remember actually being bummed out by this Robin, even though I was like still pretty young. So anyways, I want to cast Robin, and I'm going for like the funniest possible new version of this movie. I'm trying to fit the theme. And I really want to see Pete Davidson do Robin here.
Okay. Sorry, man. Cross him off. I know you had him.
I couldn't think of anyone, and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, Pete Davidson." That would just make me laugh personally. I think it would be kind of good. Like he could fit like the brooding Chris O'Donnell, like whatever. I saw what's the movie he's in? The Apatow movie.
King of Staten Island.
Yeah, he can play like, you know, like a brooding dude. I just think it'd be funny. So Pete Davidson is my Robin. First off the board. I
think that's a solid choice. I think it'll make more sense when I, you know, pick my Batman. But I'm going to go with Riz Ahmed for my Robin. Mainly because I'm in my mind turning this into a trilogy. And maybe Batman doesn't make it through the first movie and Robin becomes. So I want to see Riz Ahmed carry the mantle here. And I'm kicking it off here with him as my Robin. If you haven't seen anything Riz Ahmed is in, go watch anything he's in. I feel like he's always great.
That's how I was exposed to him. That's so good.
Yeah, he's awesome. Sound of Metal is great. Like, go check out any Riz Ahmed stuff. So that's what I'm going with. Matt, who is your Robin?
Oh, dang. Well, it's crazy that I'm picking someone who's already, you know, starred as a superhero, but I feel like if I'm going to cast the boy wonder Robin,
okay,
we're going Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, I knew it.
I like it. Okay, I love it. So this is the first recast. I don't even have his name written down anywhere. This is the first time that's happened in a recast. So that's
really
great.
Nice.
Yeah.
He was on my list as well. I think that's a solid choice. Wayne, who have you got as your Robin?
So I would cite that I got to go fourth, and my number one choice is still on the board. Obviously,
nice.
I'm remaking this movie better. I'm not going to try to keep the same, you know, spirit of it. But my Robin is going to be Finn Cole. So anybody who doesn't know who Finn Cole is, he's in Peaky Blinders. He plays Michael. He's in Fast 9. He's young John Cena. Really good, good looking young actor, and I think he'd be a great Robin.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna pull.
I like that you're. See, I'm going like my draft is full on. Let's make this thing as dumb as it currently is in the way that will make me laugh. I like that you're taking it seriously, so I appreciate that.
That's solid. Well, yeah. Now, what do I want to do?
It's tough.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's what I'm gonna do. I don't know yet. I'm really trying to decide between like the director to set the tone for this.
That's what I was trying to decide too.
Or the Batman. But you know what? I'm gonna go with director here.
Nice.
And I'm actually gonna go with the director that may have donned the cowl himself. I want Mr. Ben Affleck behind the camera.
Okay.
The dude has wanted to tell a Batman story forever. He may not be my Batman, but I think he loves the character genuinely. He's a really good director. If you've seen like Gone Baby Gone or Argo,
totally.
I think he's solid.
Did he do Geely?
Yes, Geely. Yes, of course. I can't remember what other movies he's directed, but I enjoy him as a director.
Did he direct The Town?
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to think of. The Town. So give me The Town, but in Gotham. I think Affleck's got it in him, and that's who I want. He loves Batman and he loves to direct. So I'm taking Ben. Matt, who is your director?
Oh man, you sprung it on me. Okay. Well, you know what? We're gonna go with someone who can handle the franchise and who has done other action movies. I'm going with Rian Johnson.
Okay.
Handle the ensemble.
Without a doubt. If there's anything that dude has shown he can do is handle an ensemble. I think that's solid. Now I'm really excited to see who your Batman is. I think that'll make all the difference. I think it's going to be solid. Wayne, who's directing your movie?
Yeah, like I said, totally resetting the tone of this film, resetting the entire franchise essentially with this one. And it starts with the director's chair, and I'm going with the Russo brothers, who obviously directed Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Endgame. Yeah. So this is going to be a really good film.
That is a great choice. I'm mad I didn't think about. That's perfect. I love Winter Soldier. I still think it's one of the best MC movies ever. So yeah, I love that.
So the Russo brothers were my backup pick. So we're on the same page, but actually different versions of the same page, because I wanted to do it because I knew they could do the action, but I also knew with all their work with Community and their comedy chops, they could still make the silly version of an action movie that I want to see. But my actual first pick for all those same reasons is give me Taika, man. Give me Taika. The type of camp and the type of goofiness that he can bring to this, like, I think it would actually, I could still make it silly and fun and funny, but it would also still be like a good Batman movie, but in the same sort of campy style that I'm looking for. So yeah, give me Taika. I'm really glad that I was able to get him. I can't believe he wasn't gone.
That's a solid choice. I like that. Matt, what category are we doing next?
Ooh, let's go with Mr. Freeze.
Oh, yes.
This is going to be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah. This is the one I was most looking forward to.
Yeah.
I have 3 picks here that are very, very different. Actually, I had 4 that are very different. One got taken off the board. We'll talk about later.
Pete Davidson. Is that who you wanted as Mr. Freeze?
I wouldn't have chosen him, but he was on my list. He was on my list. I got to go Jamie Foxx. Give me Jamie Foxx, Mr. Freeze.
I like that. That's fun.
Okay. I like that a lot. It was great to see him back again in No Way Home.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Wayne, how about you?
Well, I'm taking somebody who the Russo brothers have worked with a little bit, and I'm going with Vin Diesel as Mr. Freeze. I think that obviously
I like that.
You're getting a little bit of the Arnold with the action star, but I think Vin Diesel can actually act, so that's going to help out a little bit.
It's funny because I was thinking the opposite, and I had him down for my Bane. So I was like, I don't want to hear him talk. I just want to see his muscles on the screen. So I love it. That's awesome. That's a great choice. Tyler, who's your Freeze?
Man, that is a good pick. So this was the first one I recast in my head as I was watching it, but I'm actually not going to take that person because I'm hoping to get him later. I want Dave Bautista because I think he can do that same sort of like deadpan. He's a big dude, so he could fill the role. Yeah, give me Bautista, man. Give me the Bautista verse.
Yeah, I like it.
For Jamie Foxx, we're bringing back his blue skin from Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Perfect.
I did not expect Jamie Foxx at all, and I thought I would be the only person talking about No Way Home this round because, man, I just could have watched 2.5 hours of Willem Dafoe. Like when he lets loose, like he is great, and I want him as my Mr. Freeze. Like
I like that a lot.
My initial thought was like, I just want the muscles, I want the big, I want to do the same thing. Like no, I want fucking unhinged Mr. Freeze. Like give me Green Goblin, but in the DC. I love him so much, and I think he showed, even though it's been 20 years since those first Raimi movies, like he still got it. And yeah, I just want to see that. So that's what I'm taking. I'm going with Willem Dafoe.
I'm jealous you were able to get past the muscles. That was my hang up.
It was hard. Like maybe we'll talk, I'm sure, about some of these guys. They might fall into the Bane category, but yeah, I don't know. It was hard for sure, but I think Willem will pull it off for me. Yeah, what do you got, Wayne?
Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna go with Batgirl in this one, and cool. I know obviously it was originally Alicia Silverstone, and I wanted to kind of keep it with that whole Marvel universe because we know that they know how to do it, and I went with Florence Pugh, who obviously is
I like that.
Yelena from Black Widow. She's in Little Women, Hawkeye, but I think that she'd be a really good Batgirl.
Agreed.
That's a solid choice. I thought for a second about picking Ari Aster as my director, like the Hereditary and Midsommar. It's like, let's see what he does with a Batman movie. Like he'd make it really nuts. And I think Florence Pugh would be great in that. But yeah, cool. Tyler, Batgirl.
Yeah. So Florence Pugh would be like an actually good Batgirl. Like she would actually play it. So that's a great pick for what you're going for. I'm glad that we're not going for the same thing since I'm going to be going after you for the rest of this time. So you're not going to pick my people. I wanted to keep like the same, like sweet, like you don't belong in this role energy, you know? Yeah. So I'm going to go with Alison Brie. She has that same, like, I mean, she can do the action stuff. She was in Glow. She did the wrestling and all that stuff. She can do the physical thing, but she also just has that like sweet, innocent charm to her that I just think matches Alicia Silverstone. And, you know, I love Alison Brie. I love me some Annie.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I'm really strong on the Community here on this draft.
I like it. Yeah, it's good. Okay, cool. So I'm going through mine. I've cast her before. I might just cast her every single time if I can, but along with Willem Dafoe, I cannot get enough of Anya Taylor-Joy, and I think she'd be pretty cool in this role. I want to obviously go a little bit younger than I am with my Poison Ivy, so that's part of the reason behind that. But I'm just always on board for Anya Taylor-Joy, so that's who I'm taking.
She was my number 2 pick. If for some reason someone else took Allison.
Well, I'm glad my pick is still on the board. Ray Fiennes. Just kidding. I gotta go kind of
shout out Jimmy.
Yes, shout out Jimmy. Following Wayne down the Marvel route, I'm gonna go with Liz Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen.
Cool.
As my Batgirl.
That's a good one.
I'm really enjoying the MCU Batman crossover here. I just love to see these people in this, like, in this other universe. I think that's awesome.
We saw what James Gunn could do in that universe, you know?
It's true. Yeah. When he was given,
bring them all over.
Yeah. I had the thought about him too as the director. I think he'd be cool for this. Cool. All right. We're halfway through. We are flying through here. Yeah. Wayne, who's your next category? What do you want to start out with?
All right. So I could go pretty much anywhere, but just because I don't want to miss out on it, I'm going to go with Batman now. We're going with the lead role. And obviously, we know I'm going with the Russo brothers Batman film here. Yeah. I've already gone with the voice of Groot as Mr. Freeze. And I'm going with another voice actor, and Bradley Cooper is going to be my Batman.
He was on my list. I love that. Yeah.
Damn, that is awesome.
That's great.
He feels like he would commit to this. Like,
for sure.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, there's nothing he doesn't crush.
So,
I'm with you on that.
Speaking of people that would just go for it and commit here, and realizing the type of movie that I'm going for here, give me Nick Cage, baby. Just give it to me. Let's do this. Let's lean in. Cage. He's going to go for it. He's going to do the deep growly voice, and he's just going to be unhinged, and I want all of it. I think Taika could steer him in the right way. You know what I mean? And I'm here for it. So I'm really glad I got to take him. I knew I would. Like, who's going to pick Nick Cage? But the specific type of remake I'm trying to do here.
We'll talk about Nick Cage later, because we put a thing out to our social medias for people's ideas, and there's someone who's like, just have Nick Cage do every role. Like, I just want to see that movie, and I'm like, who wouldn't? You're going to sell all the tickets. It's not a terrible idea. I love it. So I was trying to figure out how I wanted to play this, and for some reason, depending on who I got as director is where I wanted to go with the movie. And so we're going a little more serious, and I kind of want to do the Dark Knight Returns comic run where we have an older Batman. And that's kind of where I was leading up to, like, maybe he doesn't make it through this first movie, or, maybe this is about Robin taking over. So I want an older person. I know Dark Knight Rises was kind of about it, but he was still Christian Bale. Like, he wasn't, nothing's going to happen, but I want an older guy. I want someone that I love seeing on screen every time that he's on screen. And I just want to see him commit. I want Michael Shannon. Give me Michael Shannon in a cowl. I want to see him
old Bruce
kind of lose his shit. I want Michael Shannon and Willem Dafoe just like face to face going at it.
So I don't know. Batman's a little chubbier. He's a little.
That's a Batman who's killed people.
Yeah, he's definitely killed people. And he's 55. He hasn't been like fighting crime for the last 10 years, like he's kind of coming out of retirement, that kind of a thing. One last
He's
too old for this shit thing
Screaming at
going
Alfred.
on.
Yeah. We get the too old for this shit Batman. I like it.
Yeah, that's what I want. And
Okay.
I think maybe it was us rewatching the night before or whatever. I'm like, man, I love seeing Michael Shannon every time he shows up on my screen.
Yeah.
And he's never a good guy. And I think that's the cool challenge of this is he's the protagonist, but he's gonna be awful. And I'm very excited about that. So that's who I'm taking.
I dig it.
Matt, who have you got?
This is easily the hardest one for me. Because
That can't be true.
I've got some options here, but I think I'm going to commit, given my cast so far, I think I'm going to commit to Mr. Zac Efron taking the cow.
All right.
He's ripped.
All right.
He can be a good big brother figure to Tom Holland, you know?
Yeah.
See those two butt heads jumping around the city, the skyways of Gotham.
Yeah. I had started typing Adam in here, so I was shocked, but hopefully Angie won't be upset.
I'm blown away. Yeah.
She
Adam
will be
Driver's
upset.
not here, but
They don't have a mask for that nose, unfortunately.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, very
That's
true.
true.
Tuck those ears back though. For
Yeah,
sure.
oh yeah.
It definitely
We can-
would. All right, Matt, this is you. We got Poison Ivy, Bane, and Alfred. Who are you taking?
I'm gonna take Poison Ivy, and I am going to nail down Emily Blunt.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
cool. I
I
think it's
dig
a
it.
great choice. I'm really enjoying your cast. So
It's gonna be a good movie.
yeah, Jamie Foxx and Emily Blunt just tearing shit up.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's a solid choice. Wayne, who have you got as your Poison Ivy?
Yeah, so I guess I went a little bit sexier because I remember, even though I hated this movie, Uma Thurman was so sexy in this film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of wanted to recreate that because she is that kind of, she lures the other two into like this whole thing. And I went with Jennifer Lopez as my Poison Ivy.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I dig that. That's cool.
Let's get her in there. I think that's a great choice.
Yeah.
Listen, one of the biggest like Oscar snubs was that Hustler snub that she got because she's fucking great in that movie. So
For sure.
I think that's a solid choice.
Yeah.
Tyler,
Ooh.
who's your Ivy?
So this one's tough. This was the second one that I recast in my head. And then I was talking to Alex, my girlfriend, and she suggested someone. And I think they're both really good picks. And I kind of thought my first pick would be gone. So now I don't know what to do. And she's sitting here in the room with me, so she'll know if I don't pick hers.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, pressure. I gotta go.
Just type
I'm
it
gonna,
in the chat. And
I'm gonna go with Margot Robbie. That was my
Okay.
first instinct as I was watching it. Well, for a lot of the same reasons you were talking about, Wayne. Just like the first time I saw Margot Robbie, probably the same time everyone did, was with Wolf of Wall Street, and it's sort of like, whoa, like instantly every dude's crush. You know what I mean? The second you see
Yeah.
her, so
Second
and that was the
puberty.
same. Yeah, and that was the same thing with Uma Thurman. It was like, oh, look at Poison Ivy. I think I like this villain. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think in this, to match the energy there, I'm going to go Margot Robbie. Although I do like my backup pick, but we can talk about that later.
Okay.
I can tell you right now, my dad Steve is going to Wayne's movie, all because of J-Lo.
You sold at least one ticket, Wayne. I like it. You watch out for that letterbox review. It's gonna be solid. Man, okay. I fall into the same thing. Like everyone that I had in my list is still here. I was hoping you guys would like take some off. Okay. I think because we've seen her kind of be crazy like in a movie, and she did it so well. And just a little reunion with my man Affleck. I'm going with Rosamund Pike from Gone Girl. Like we've seen like she can be evil. She can be kind of, nuts and calculated and all this kind of stuff. So I think that's who I'm going to go with. I'm really fighting though, because I passed on her when we did our Oceans one as my Tess Ocean. I think Eva Mendes could come out of retirement and really kill this role. But yeah, I'm gonna lock in Rosamund Pike. I think she'd be solid here.
Do it. I like
That's
it.
great.
Okay, so now for me, what do I want to leave Tyler with? Okay, well, so all right. Oh, this is nuts. I don't know what to do. I talked about it earlier. I want to see the voice actor play this in real life. our own Jean Grey that Matt mentioned. Ray Fiennes is going to be my Alfred Pennyworth. I think I got to do it. Yeah. When I was looking at the cast, like, oh yeah, he already did this, but I want to see it in real life. So, yeah, I'm going with Alfred, and I'm going with Rafe Fiennes. Shout out Jimmy and Jean Grey. Who's after me? Matt, who's your Alfred?
Oh man, I have three really good ones here, but you gotta choose, and I'm gonna go with the original J-Law, Jude Law.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Hell yeah.
And he's gonna be my Alfred Pennyworth. He's
That's
gonna
a great choice.
Keep after Master Bruce, Zac Efron.
I like it. Little AI too. He'll just kind of guide him and take him through the world. Wayne, who have you got as your Alfred Pennyworth?
Yeah, I'm excited to get my first pick. I figured this was the safest one I would have gone last with because I felt like nobody was going to pick him, but just wanted somebody who would be the older father figure, obviously, to my Bruce, kind of raised him from when he was little. My Bruce is Bradley Cooper. So my Alfred is Martin Sheen.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I dig that.
Oh, that is such a good choice. Uncle Ben. I mean, he's got the great advice. He's
for sure.
That's we never talk about Martin Sheen on here. He's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Martin Sheen. I don't know how they haven't we've never done a movie with him in it or anything like that. Like Martin Sheen's the best.
Oh, he's so smooth. And even in the what's he got there now? The prescription commercials he does. I'm still like, he's still cool.
Yeah, I don't even need it, but I'll take it. Whatever he's selling, I'll take it. But
man, I was so hung up on the actor being British. I didn't even think about American actors. So kudos to you, Wayne. I'm gonna go with someone who I want them to play it with the same intensity that they play their other movies. I want Liam Neeson here, but I want him to play that same serious intensity. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if we're really going for the silliest version of this movie, and I think he could do that very stern, serious, but loving.
Is he almost is he almost competing with Batman? I'm
almost thinking his character. He's just too old to do it anymore. You know what I mean? So he's like the tough love from Taken. He loves his daughter. He's got that love for his daughter. He's got that love for Bruce, but he's an intense dude, but he's loyal and So give me Liam Neeson.
Picturing him sneaking out the Batmobile at night when Bruce is asleep. One last ride. I'm going out there.
Totally. I love it.
Everybody at home watching is so Ra's al Ghul works for him now?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Become the Suicide Squad again. Wait, I thought they were dead. Why is she still here? Oh man, I would love that. Bane, all you, Tyler. Your first pick.
So I might put in my instinctual Mr. Freeze. I might put him here because I love him so much, and it won't surprise either Matt or Ben when I say that person's name. But I also want to pick someone that's just funny. I'm thinking of so what's the guy's name? Jeep Swenson or something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what he looks like because they put this crazy puff suit on him. So I'm thinking it would be funny to do. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna go for the joke here. I'm gonna put Timothée Chalamet. I like the idea of him he's a scrawny dude and he's such a big name, and we give him the dumbest role and cover him up with all this goofy bullshit and make him just grunt some words. I just think that's really funny. So I'm gonna go with Chalamet. I don't know why, it just makes me laugh.
I mean, he does look like the pre-Venom Bane.
I want to see Timothy screaming. They're pumping into
Okay, shit. So yeah, I have three that I'm trying to go between because I'm trying to play it. I mean, a little serious here. I'll have something to talk about after, but I don't know why. I think it'd be kind of funny just to put Tom Hardy there again, just have him play it again. But
that makes me laugh a lot.
There's no continuity in it, but it's just and he just repeats the words. He's not the old Bane. He's got the same dumb mask on.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I just think it'd be funny. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take Tom Hardy as my Bane.
I approve.
Matt, who have you got?
Yeah, you thought you hated Bane's voice the first time.
Yeah.
So keeping in mind that we have CGI and practical effects to make this guy huge, I'm just thinking someone who's crazy and unhinged, or who could play that, I should say. And I am actually going to cast in Mr. Shia LaBeouf as my Bane.
Nice. Oh, I like
Cool.
that better than my Chalamet. Damn you, Matt.
Just pick it, Tyler. I'll redo the audio and
That's all right. Matt
You have
can
to
have
do
him.
my high pitched voice over Tyler's. Shia LaBeouf.
But I mean, honestly, like if these people get the same MCU treatment, like look how big Kumail got for Eternals. Like,
Yeah.
That's true.
I know he's not going to get like Jeep big, but like he could still, I think, be intimidating. You know.
Yeah.
All right, Wayne. Who's your Bane? Who's the last pick of this recast?
Yeah, so when I was doing this one, this was the toughest one because I had to ask myself, I knew I was doing the Russo brothers remake, and I said, do I want to go with a more developed character like Hardy's Bane, or do I want to keep him like let's go to, so, and I said, I'll keep him the same dumb Bane because there's so many characters. I don't want to have more characters developed. It's been a 4-hour movie.
True.
So my Bane is going to be half or Bjornsson or the Mountain from Game of Thrones. I just think that he is a perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
that's a
the same
solid
thought.
choice.
Yeah, perfect. He really is, in all honesty, if we're all being honest, he really is the perfect, because that's exactly what he was in Game
He
of
is
Thrones.
the Mountain. Yeah.
He was just like, didn't say much and just was big and beat people up. That's exactly what we're looking for here.
I mean, those are all good. I like how we all kind of went different ways with it, you know,
Yeah.
like keeping it still kind of funny or campy, or like, you know, going more the serious route. But these are all good. I'm stoked. I would see obviously any of these. I mean, do you want to do a quick recap, or should we jump to our honorable mentions? What do you guys think?
Yeah, whatever you want. You're the host.
Yeah, I mean that's true. But I don't really want to read like all
Yeah,
these names.
let's just go through the honorable mentions.
Yeah, let's just kind of, if you have some, I think the first ones I want to mention are Bane. I had the thought of basically Channing Tatum's character from This Is the End.
This is my gimp. Channing, introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, guys? Y'all cool?
It's Channing Tatum.
That's Channing Tatum, dude. What the fuck? Channing fucking Tatum. I found him wandering on the freeway. I collected him, made him my bitch. Get off my dick. I call him Channing Tate Yum.
You know, he just has the mask on and he's just like essentially naked. I thought that might be kind of funny. And then the other thing I thought would be funny is to put Henry Cavill in the mask, like bring him back to the DC, because he's already buff, he's already good to go, but just don't let him talk, you know? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought about him for my Bane. What did you guys have for some honorable mentions?
Well, for Bane and Mr. Freeze, well, he was my original thought for Mr. Freeze. I wanted to see Chris Hemsworth do it, specifically with Taika directing. I just like the idea of dumb Chris Hemsworth. What was that? It was Ghostbusters, right? The Ghostbusters reboot where he did that. And I also think it works for Bane. You'd have to do sort of like the Captain America, like the skinny CGI to him. You know what I mean? But I think that would be really fun. And my alternate pick for Poison Ivy that Alex brought up was Julia Garner from Ozark and whatnot. I think she can do like the sinister side of Poison Ivy really well. And I mean, obviously she's equally sexy and all that stuff too, but just like you know she can do like the mean part of it all. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wayne, do you have any honorable mentions you wanted to go over?
I was fortunate. Again, I got my number one pick for every single role.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think that the only one that maybe was kind of where Martin Sheen kind of came in late as Alfred. My original number one before I thought of Sheen was Liam Cunningham, also from Game of Thrones. He was Davos Seaworth.
Oh my God, that's so good.
I thought he'd be good, but then when I thought of Martin Sheen, I'm like, no, I want to go with him.
Yeah,
that's great.
He's great. Yeah. What about you, Matt?
I had for Alfred, I liked Daniel Craig as an Alfred.
That's why I didn't know if you were going to go that when you picked Ryan Johnson. That's was like, I wonder if he'll bring him in there.
He was my number one pick at first, and then I kind of went away from it. But then I also thought about switching it up a little bit and doing a Maggie Smith Alfred, which I thought would be interesting.
That'd be cool. I
thought it'd be funny if there was a Batman movie that had Dwayne Johnson as Batman and Dave Bautista as Robin.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, man. Smash Bros.
Yeah, basically.
I love that.
The other ones I had were Chris Pine as a potential Batman, and then Tilda Swinton as a Mr. Freeze.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I dig that.
I like that.
So I was blown away. My first Batman I wrote down was Oscar Isaac until I'm pretty sure Alex thought of Nick Cage actually as well. Oh no, it was Ryan, good old Ryan Swenson thought of Nick Cage.
Oh.
But anyways, I was sure that you were going to take Oscar Isaac, Ben. There was no doubt in my mind.
He's on my list.
Yeah.
I was thinking, but that's why I was trying to figure out which way I wanted to go, because for the directors, I was also thinking of Lord and Miller, like having them do like that would be more the funny side of it. And so I wouldn't have gone the older route of Dark Knight Returns. And I was thinking of Chris Evans, like Gyllenhaal, Richard Madden, I thought would be cool. And some of the older ones, since it was in my mind just like a one movie appearance, I was like, what if like RDJ comes and plays Batman, or we've never gotten Leo in like a superhero movie? Like that might be kind of cool. Yeah. Just try to figure out like how I wanted to play it all. But yeah, Mr. Freeze, John Cena was the first thing I thought of, because it's just like the body type. And then, I had a lot of options for Poison Ivy and Batgirl, but I'm happy with what I ended up with. Eventually I'll get Eva Mendes into one of my recasts and make her come out of retirement. But the biggest one I was kind of fighting between was Elizabeth Debicki for Poison Ivy from Tenet, because I think just like her height alone is like pretty intimidating and stuff. So yeah, I got some pretty good honorable mentions. Any other honorable mentions someone wants to mention before?
The only thing I had, when I was watching this, I was like, I don't actually know how this leads into a conversation, because I'm really putting you guys on the spot here. And also maybe what I'm about to say, everyone's like, yeah, duh, we already knew that. But as I was watching this, I was like, this movie's actually more about the villains than it is Batman. Like I think we spend more time with Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze and everything else than we do. Like we don't spend that much time with Clooney or Chris O'Donnell and their little rivalry or whatever. And then I got to thinking, I'm like, that's kind of how all these superhero movies, at least the Batmans, are. Like, I think the Batman stories we see are interesting because they're almost more about the villains than they are about Batman. Because once you get past the origin story, like you don't need it that much more about Batman's story. You get to every movie, you're learning about this villain and how they like are taken down. I think that's really interesting. I don't know if I'd never had that thought before. I don't know if like, and again, maybe everyone's like, yeah, dude, everyone knows that. Like, but I don't know. And I don't know how that leads to a conversation, but it's just a thought I had after watching it. Like, and I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's what makes these so fun is like the people that they bring in to go against whoever our protagonist is. That's what makes these, especially these, are so campy. But we got some great suggestions. We put a feeler out on socials for what people wanted, for their recast. Mike Messina from Action Filmmaking Pod, they came on for our action movie draft. He's the one that wanted Nick Cage in every single role.
I love it.
I was like, yeah, I mean, you can't really argue that. Speaking of the bad guys, the podcast somebody asked for talked about Mads Mikkelsen as Mr. Freeze, which I thought was pretty cool. And Gugu Mbatha Raw as Poison Ivy. The name might be familiar to a ton of people, but she played Ravonna Renslayer in Loki. She was kind of like Loki's main protagonist in that. Thomas and Mackenzie as Batgirl and Jack O'Connell as Robin. One of my favorites, Soundtrack Your Life Pod, wanted Michael Rooker as Mr. Freeze. Like, yeah, I'm here for all the Michael Rooker stuff. Like, I think that'd be solid. Let's see. Black Irish Pod said it was perfectly cast because it's a horrible cast. It's a horrible movie. It's like, all right, man. I can't argue with that.
You're not wrong.
The other side of that, Jessica Narrate said, like, how can you recast perfection? Speaking of Mr. Freeze, like, I get it too.
Yeah.
And, our good friend Christian, who has come on for a couple of our pods, he was playing to our sensibilities. He's tugging at our heartstrings. He's like, Maggie Gyllenhaal is Poison Ivy. He was like, yeah, of course, get the better Gyllenhaal in the movie. Let's have her play Poison Ivy. So I think that was a great choice. And Carlos and Freddie from 88 Miles Per Hour Pod, they sent us their Batman rankings, and I looked at it and I was like, what is going on?
We're not gonna like this episode.
They sent them in reverse order. So like Batman and Robin was number 1 and like Dark Knight was number 7 or whatever. And I was like, I want to be supportive. And like, if they like it, that's cool. But I was like, what's going on? And so I just wrote back like, cool, that's awesome.
I mean, they genuinely liked Ernest.
Yeah, you know, I was like, I don't
So-
know, like I don't want to, you know, shit on people's taste. Like, cool, if that's,
Or I guess
that's your
Santos,
jam.
right? It was Santos that.
Yeah. Santos, yeah.
He
Sorry,
genuinely
what
liked
is it?
Ernest.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks everyone for reaching out. Let us know what you wanted to do in your recast. Wayne, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, Wayne.
I hope you had a good time. We all had a blast. I know I can speak for everyone. I'm excited to see all of our movies, without a doubt. But yeah, again, thanks for coming on. Let people know where they can find you and your podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely check us out. Again, Good Pods is a great way to listen, but you can listen anywhere. It is Recasted 2.0. And you can find us on Twitter is the best way to interact with us. And that is at Recasted Podcast. You can vote. We have our Indiana Jones trilogy. We just recasted.
Ooh,
and you can vote on who did a better one there. In fact, if you want to argue with Jesse is arguing with anybody who says they like my pick of Jason Moustakis as Salah.
Okay, nice. Yeah, if you want to get in on it. I just haven't voted because, I mean, that's one of the trilogies I talked about watching because I've only, like, I don't even remember seeing the first ones. I haven't seen any of them. So I feel like I can't comment on it, but I do enjoy that you guys put all those up and you're really good about like engaging with everybody. So definitely give them a follow and a listen. Again, thank you for coming on. I hope we did the recast community proud. I think this was a solid one. So thank you all for listening. You can find us everywhere that you find podcasts, on socials, where everything at 3 Films Pod. Thank you for your support. And yeah, go enjoy the Batman. See ya.
Do it.
See ya.
So we'll hunt him. Because he can take it. Because he's not a hero.